Welcome everyone to Vector Institute's Careers in AI session. Today, we will be shining a spotlight on recent grads working in AI across a variety of sectors, from health to financial services to retail. My name is Melissa Judd, and on behalf of everyone at Vector, I wanted to thank you for spending an hour with us and to offer a special thank you to our presenters and panelists for taking the time out of their busy schedules to share their insights with us today. The Vector Institute is funded by the Province of Ontario, the Government of Canada through the Pan-Canadian AI Strategy by CFAR, and industry sponsors from across the Canadian economy. Part of Vector's mandate is building a strong AI ecosystem in Ontario by attracting world-class talent through the Vector Scholarship in Artificial Intelligence, to growing the number of AI master's programs in the province, to connecting students to internships and full-time opportunities in AI. In addition to recruiting-focused events and events such as these, we have created the Vector Digital Talent Hub, which is a job board featuring roles in AI across a variety of different industries. If you haven't already done so, we would invite you to create a profile on the Talent Hub, which takes less than 5 minutes to do. On the platform, you will be able to browse a curated set of internship and full-time opportunities, as well as set up automated job alerts to be notified when the particular roles matching your goals and interests come up on the platform. The hub can be accessed at talenthub.vectorinstitute.ai. Now, before I introduce our first speaker, I did want to remind everyone that today's session is being recorded, and there will be an opportunity to ask questions of our speakers through the Q&A function in Zoom. We will do our best to address as many questions from you in the short time that we have together today. And now it is my distinct pleasure to welcome our first presenter, Angeline Yasodhara. Angeline is a recent computer science MSc graduate from the University of Toronto and Vector Scholarship in Artificial Intelligence recipient. Her master's research is focused on machine learning in healthcare, from causality to explainability. She has worked as a Vector researcher under the supervision of Vector faculty member Anna Goldenberg, and she is currently working at Georgian Partners, one of our sponsor organizations, to enhance explainability in their internal models. Angeline's talk today will focus on incorporating explainability to user workflows. Please join me in welcoming Angeline.
Thank you, Melissa. Hi, everyone. I'm Angeline. I'm currently interning at Georgian Partners as an applied research scientist intern. And today I'm going to talk about incorporating explainability to user workflows. So what Georgian does, Georgian Partners invest in growth stage tech companies. And I'm currently interning at the Impact team. Impact team engages with portfolio companies to help advance their machine learning solutions. Our Impact team consists of technical experts from different aspects of machine learning, like AutoML, constraint optimization, all the way to transfer learning and transparency and explainability. So what my project is about, so there are tens of thousands of startups in the world that Georgian can invest in, but we cannot manually look over each one of them. So Georgian develops and uses an internal machine learning software to find interesting companies for investment. This filtered list will be handed off to the business development team for assessment and outreach. Business team need to understand why a company is recommended. That's why we need machine learning explainability. And this work is done under the supervision of Azin Asgarian, our senior applied research scientist. And I'm also working very closely with Diego, Madison, and Borna for this project. So I'm going to be talking about my project's life cycle. So to summarize in one sentence, my project is to explain the machine learning model that classifies whether companies should be pursued further by the business team or not. So I'm going to be focusing on the explaining part of the model, not at enhancing the model. So the first part of the project is I have to do a literature review and prototype. And the second part of the project is getting feedback from users. Now, of course, one of my users is the business team, the software end users, for whom I have to do interview and design explainable UI. But later on, I realized that my users are also the engineering team, for whom I have to do technical investigations and integrate the explanation into engineering workflow. Okay. So first part, literature review. So in the first few weeks of my of my internship, I looked over the different papers of explainability in current machine learning. So I looked from simple things like Lime, partial dependence plot, to things like prototypes and criticism, influential samples, and data Shapley. And for each of the method, I assessed the pro and con, whether it's suitable for our business school, whether it will be useful or what we're looking for. And then we decided some of the methods we're gonna go forward with are SHAP, which is published in 2017 and extended for trees in 2020, and also ALE plots. So SHAP and ALE give an estimate of how a feature affects a sample's prediction. And from this estimate value, we can get a view of the top important features of the model and how the different features affect the model. And we can look in detail how a specific feature affect the model output. So here I'm showing, for example, the growth rate percentile from 40th percentile to 100th percentile. And on the y-axis, I'm showing the contribution to model output. So what does it mean? Sorry. So it means that high growth companies are more likely to be recommended by the machine learning model. This can be seen in this peak after the 80th percentile. Okay, so second part is getting feedback from the users. So first of all, for the business development team, our software end users, the focus is how to use explanations to increase user trust in model predictions and improve user workflow efficiency. So what I quickly learned when I show my prototype to the business development team is that explanation plots as they are can result in confusions, decreasing efficiency. For example, if I show a high importance in a proxy of a feature, the business team might get really confused. Why does the model care so much about this feature proxy? Because we never look at this feature before. So I learned that we have to transform the explanation plots in a way to be more user-friendly and to increase efficiency. So I also improved the UI design. We made a wireframe to focus on highlighting important information. And for the engineering team, the focus is how trustworthy are these explanations and how can we use this to improve the model. So I did a lot of stability investigations. So how are the explanations different for models trained on different random seeds, different production timeline? How are they actually changing? And also I have to integrate the explanation within the deployment process to use it as model debugging pre-deployment, and also to validate the feature importance with the product manager. Okay, so the project's progress so far. So I've done the review literature and the prototype. And for business team and software end users, I've done user interviews. We also made a UI wireframe currently in progress to production. And for engineering team, I finished the technical investigations and also integrated it to engineering workflow in progress to production. So some lessons that I want to share with you all today is I learned that interacting with other people is really crucial when you incorporate explainability to the user workflow. You have to clearly identify who are your users, what is important about the business domain, what do they actually want to see, and why do the users want these explainability plots? How do they actually interact with the prototype you've given to them? Does it actually help them toward their goal? and don't be afraid to wear many hats. Thank you.
Thank you, Angeline. Thank you for that fantastic presentation. I just wanted to open up the Q&A feature. If anyone would like to ask a question of Angeline at this time, please feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of Zoom. To get us started, I actually have a question for you. Your academic research focused on health. You're in a different sector now. How is explainability the same or different across these two different sectors? What different considerations might you have to make in venture capital versus health, or vice versa?
So in health, what's really similar is in health, I work a lot with doctors, and when they look at explanation, they want to interpret it the way they usually assess their patients. So does it actually align with their way of thinking when they normally look at the patients themselves? Also working with the business team, I realized that they do apply the same principle. When they look at the explanation, they wanted to see, oh, that the model cares about the same thing that they care about when they assess the different companies, which may not necessarily be true with explanation plots in machine learning, because in machine learning models, they learn different hidden correlations and patterns that we sometimes are not aware of. So I found that similar. And I think the difference is also, so in health, it seems like a lot of people really care about causation, whereas I think in the business world, because especially in venture capitals, the trend keeps changing. So the causation doesn't matter as much right now anyway.
Thank you for that answer. Now we have a question from Chuck. Have you tried saliency-based methods or attention mechanisms for model interpretability?
So saliency, as far as I understand, are mostly used for images. So currently we're working more with text and the numerical and categorical data, so we haven't used saliency methods. And for attention-based, we are looking into that, actually.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take one more question before I introduce our next presenter. And this question is, what are some things that have worked for you when communicating your findings to product managers? That's a great question.
So I realized that with product managers, you have to understand what their background is. So if they're not too familiar with the technical side, it would be nice to give them a high-level understanding and to give them examples of use cases of what these plots can do for them, not necessarily focusing on how the plots are made or what are the mathematics behind it.
Thank you for that. And Angeline, thank you so much for your presentation. We'll have time to hear more from you on our panel shortly.